the voice of women.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Time check it is 16 minutes after 10. This fine Monday morning, it is 22nd of December 2025. First of all, compliments of the season to you. We are in the Christmas season right about now. And from Women Radio, we are wishing you a Merry Christmas. Compliments of the season to you. You're tuned into Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women. And this is Radio Doctor. Radio Doctor is Nigeria's first specialized radio health program where medical doctors consult and advise on radio for free, basically. Mondays through Fridays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. My name is Fumi Bangala, and our radio doctor today is Dr. Olufumilola Akiola, a consultant pediatrician at St. Ives Family Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Akiola. Compliments of the season to you.
Good morning, Fumi. It's nice having you, joining you again this morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Fine, and as your preparation
For
toward Christmas.
Christmas, at some point, it will become clearer.
So I wish you joyous and lovely Christmas
Same to
for
you.
you and every member of your family.
Same to you. Same to you. I wish you the same. Okay. This morning, we are going to be talking about frequent infections in children. When is it too much? Before we get into it, it is 18 minutes after 10 this morning. You're listening to Radio Doctor. We are live on YouTube at WFM 917. You can also listen to us on the go, www.wfm917.com. You can call us when we start a conversation. The numbers to call 07000 917 917, 09155 917 917, or our toll free line, which is 0800, beg your pardon, 1235 917. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0703 1756 537 or 08155 917 917. Now let's get into it. Dr. Akela, when parents say their child is always sick, what does that mean medically? And how do you define frequent infections in children?
Thank you very much. I'll answer that question that many parents with young children, we may feel that the frequent illness they bring home from school or daycare will never end. And they might frantically be asking this question or asking their pediatrician, why is my child always sick? I would say it is very normal for kids to contract illness frequently as their immune system build up. Most children under the age of 7 years, they have immature immune system, and those young children, especially those who may be attending school or daycare, they are being exposed to new environments, new pathogens, or new germs almost always every day. So it is likely that because of this, their exposure and their underdeveloped and still developing immune system, they come down with sickness almost every time. But when we now say, what is frequent or recurrent infection in children, what does that mean? It means that infections that are usually numerous, that is severe, and is long-lasting or complicated with specific red flags, such as when you have a child having two or more severe infection per year, or having three or more respiratory infections, which include ear infections, sinus infections, chest infections in a year, or in a situation where the child is having have to use antibiotics continuously for more than 2 months in a year, and this is always almost indicating a developing immune system
Mhm.
or a potential underlying issues such as primary immunodeficiency syndrome. So, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that it is not uncommon for children to develop sickness or to be healed. I mean, one or two times at a time, because their immune system is still developing, especially those under the age of 7 years that are still going to school, that are going to daycare. This is where they are exposed and get in contact with the germs, the bacteria, the viral infection that cause all these illness. So they frequently comes down with illness because their immune system is still developing. They need exposure to some of this illness to be able to develop a natural immunity toward this sickness, so that when the illness come again, their body will have the potential to fight this illness. However, it's become things of concern when you are having recurrent infection,
Mhm.
you know, when you are having that are associated with severe infection or complication, or when you are having two or more severe infection in a year, two or more respiratory infection in a year, or a
Mhm.
situation when a child have to use antibiotics to take care of infection for a longer period, more than 2 months.
Hello, Dr. Akinla. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinla. Now, how often is normal for a child, especially those in daycare or school, to have infections in a year? Let me explain this. I've seen quite a few children who every other day, maybe that might be an exaggeration, but I think that would be fair. They are home from school because of an infection. I know that parents are very, very hesitant to take their kids to daycare because you really don't know, how other people take care of their children, what their home situation is like. So you hear people say, "Oh, my son is home from school because they were ill." So how often is normal for a child to have infections? And if you'd like, please break it down by age for us.
Okay, I would say for it is completely normal for children in daycare to get sick 8 to 12 times a year,
Mhm.
especially children under the age of 5 years, um, especially in the first year of life. You know, it is completely normal for them to get sick 8 to 12 times a year,
Okay.
especially yes, especially in the first year. They are exposed to respiratory. infection, cough and catarrh, abdominal discomfort, you know, they may be feeling like they are sick every few weeks because they are developed, because their immune system is still developing, and they develop immune, you know, the developing immune system, as they encounter new germs in a new group, as they get in contact with others, you know, it's helped them to um, get exposure to these germs, and also help their body to develop their own natural immune system um, toward uh, toward these particular germs. But this frequency decreases over time as their defenses build up. Uh, Parents should be expecting colds, stomach bugs, viral fevers, you know, in children, as their children are growing up, especially the first year of life, because these exposures, they are key part of building a lifelong immunity.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kenla. Uh-oh, my device is gonna again. Okay. All right, my next question for you would then be, why, I know that you've mentioned, the immunity, but why is the immunity of children lower than, that of adults? What is happening within the immune system? I can hazard a guess, because when I was growing up, I remember that they would say, oh, the big chicken should be for the adults, the egg should be for the adults, and these are the foods that children need for their growth. I've come to realize that it's not actually the adults that need more food, it's the children. So is it possible that there is a deficiency of certain foods that they are meant to be eating that is making them less immune to infection as opposed to adults?
Um, there are lots of factors that makes children.
Hi, Dr. Akionla. Uh-oh. Dr. Akionla, we're having technical issues, but right about now, we've been talking about infections in children. Dr.
Hello.
is back. Hi, Dr. Akionla. We can see.
If I understand, there is a break in the communication at a point, so I
Yeah.
don't really understand
Question I
what
asked.
the question you are
Okay.
asking.
I was asking that what makes children more, no, not more, less immune to infection than adults? And I had given an example of, is it possible that it is also the food that we eat? Is there a deficiency in children's nutrition that makes them less immune to infections as opposed to adults?
I mean, when it comes to uh, immune development, comparing uh, adults,
Mhm.
why is why why the children is less have reduced immunity compare uh, to adults.
Mhm.
The It's not only in terms of food. Uh, the immune system is the way the body immune system is developed is that in children, their immune system is still developing, and they need exposure to some of these germs, viruses, bacteria, parasitic, in order to be able to develop uh, the immune system that fights this infection. It comes in two ways: that natural, and there is one which we call innate immunity, and there is one which needs to be introduced into the body through vaccine, and this is done through the vaccines. The natural immunity comes through exposure to a particular germ. You know, when the body is exposed to this germ, initially, um, because this germ is new into the body, it may sort of overwhelm the body, but at the same time, the body is also secreting its own immunity to be able to fight this germ, so that when this type of germ comes the second time, the body would have developed enough um, immunity or its own security to fight this germ.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, because the body's, I mean, because the children's immunity are still low, they are sometimes, most of the time, overwhelmed by this disease when it comes. Another way of getting immunity is by introducing this in form of vaccines into the children, and which is what they go to the vaccines they go to take at a particular time, as they grow up to specific disease. This help them to mount up immunity toward that disease. What you are introducing into the body is the innate form of that disease, which is not strong enough to cause disease, but is strong enough to help their body to secrete their own immunity to fight these particular germs or diseases when it comes again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but adults, because they have exposed to several germs, their body has mounted up enough immunity, has secretes enough immunity to fight these germs. That is why when adults are exposed to that germs, their body fight it off, and you may not feel that you have exposed to that germs. But children, because they are still growing, they need. I mean, that's why they are overwhelmed by the disease or the infection when it comes, and they need this exposure for them to grow, you know, to be able to develop and mount up their own immunity.
Okay. All right. What kinds of infection are more common in children? Are they respirational? Is it respiratory, gastrointestinal? Are they ear infections? And why do they occur repeatedly?
Um, the most common type of infection that are common in children are the respiratory infection, which may affect the respiratory tract, may affect the ear. It's part of, may affect the sinuses, which is also part of the adjacent to the respiratory tract, and it's commonly caused by virus infection,
Mm-hmm.
and it's usually caused by viral infection. And just as I mentioned earlier, it's still related to their uh, developing immunity, because their immune system is still developing. So when this disease come, it's easily overwhelm, their immune system, because their immune system is still developing. But by the time they have developed their own um, security system, if I'm allowed to use that, to
Okay.
fight this infection, then when this infection comes, they easily fight it off and it
Mm-hmm.
may not overwhelm them. But because they are developed, yeah, their immune system is still developing, they are not yet exposed to this disease that are coming to attack them, easily, they easily come down with this infection. But by the time their body has mounted off enough security,
Mm-hmm.
enough, I mean, to fight off this infection, when this infection come, they may not, I mean, the body fight it off and it may not overwhelm. They may not even feel as if they have this disease.
Okay. My next question is this. How can parents tell the difference between repeated simple infections and something that is more serious?
Um, Sometimes it may be difficult for parents to be able to distinguish between what he calls a normal simple infection and a severe infection, because every infection will start, just like a normal simple infection. But there are a lot of factors that you have to consider before you uh, make up your decision. I mean, make up your mind, or as a doctor, that you think that this is not just a what you people call normal simple infection. For it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the progression, the duration of the disease. A mild or a mild infection will last maybe about 2 to 3 days, and most of the time it goes away on its own, even without treatment. But a severe infection will linger on, 2 3 weeks. If it's not attended to,
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to severe complication and can be life threatening. Then, when you notice a fever that is going on, running temperature, a fever, a mild infection will come with a mild fever, which probably you may not even need to use any medication before it resolve on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But a severe infection will come with high fever, high and persistent fever, which will linger on for a longer days, and some other complication which we also notice, you know. But when you notice a child that is having fever longer than 3 days, longer than a week, you know, you don't need people to tell you that you have to take this child to see his or her doctor.
Okay. My next question is this. Is it normal for children to get back-to-back infection? It's like, oh, they had ear infection today, they got better. The next time is respiratory infection. The next time maybe it is a urinary tract. Like, what's cause? Is it normal? And then what's causing that back-to-back infection? Because shouldn't there be recovery? Is it that when they get better, their immunity is down again? What causes it?
Um, as I mentioned earlier, I said that it is not something abnormal for children, especially children under the age of 1 to 2 years, to have 8 to 12, you know, infections within a year, especially when children under the age of 7 years that are attending school, they're attending daycare, attending crèches, where they are exposed to other children. There are different disease causing organism, which may be viral, which may be parasitic,
Mm-hmm.
which may also be bacteria. And because these children, their immune system is still developing, you know, when and because they are still going to school, it's easy for uh, a child to easily transfer the disease causing organism to another through direct contact. When one that is causing the disease is coughing and releases the disease causing organism into the air, the other one will inspirate, inspire it through the air and it settles into the respiratory tract to cause disease because their immune system is still developing. So it is easy to spread disease from one person to another because of their close contact
Mm-hmm.
and because their immune system is still immature to fight off that disease. So, as you are treating respiratory organism in one, I mean, disease in one, then another one bring a germs, that cause that affect the gastrointestinal tract, then transfer it to another person that even that is still fighting a disease
Yeah.
and even that their immune system is still low. So it's easy between this age group under the age of 5, 7 years to easily transfer disease to each other because their
Mm-hmm.
immune system is immature and because of their close contact and direct contact at school, they easily exchange these germs from one person to another. So back to back infection is not something that is uncommon among them, especially when they are going to crèche, daycare, or going to kindergarten, where they are easily exchange this infection.
Hmm. All right. Thank you so much for that, Sefakiola. The next question I've got is this. What warning signs should parents look out for that would suggest that look, this infection is not not like infection is normal, but this infection is beyond or just maybe catarrh or whatever that they need to pay attention to it.
I mentioned earlier one of the something is the progression or the
Yeah.
duration of the disease. Fever that is lasting more than 3 days, you have used paracetamol and it's not going down. Please let this child see his or her doctor. And it's not I mean, rather than reducing in severity, it's becoming worse.
Mm-hmm.
Please let this child go to see doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Or you notice that rather than the child getting well, it's not improving. The symptom is getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Let the child go to see a
Yeah.
doctor. So the duration of the disease and also the intensity of the fever, you know, if rather you notice the fever is getting higher and
Mm-hmm.
also persistent,
Mm-hmm.
the child needs to be seen by his or her physician.
All right. I want to ask a question that is sort of superstitious, or is it a myth? I should call it now. I don't even know. And the question is, we hear a lot of parents when their child is sick every now and again, they say, oh, the reason why that child is sick is because the child is weak or something. Is this true? Is it a myth? Is it a misunderstanding? What would you say to parents who think that their child being sick back to back is a sign of weakness, that the child is weak?
Um, I mentioned earlier that uh, it is expected because uh, of their immune. I mean, because of their immune system that is being developed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that it's not something abnormal for a child to to have some one form of sickness
Mm-hmm.
or another. I mean, while they are growing up, especially cold and catarrh, which is a viral infection. Some of them may have some stomach bug, you know, and gastrointestinal system,
Mm-hmm.
infection, having vomiting and diarrhea at one point to another, while they are developing. But um, that doesn't really mean that this child is weak.
Mm.
It's because the immune system is still developing.
Developing.
However, when this become persistent, I mentioned when you now become very concerned is when you notice this is getting more frequent that almost every day this child is sick, this child is weak, is not getting to the point that it's affecting the growth, the child is
Mm-hmm.
not growing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as expected. When you compare with the children of the same age, it's affecting the school. I mean, it's not going to school because I have to miss a lot of school days because this child is sick and the child has to be hospitalized, you know, uh, many times. I mean, up to 4, 5, 6 times in a year because of severe illness. Then you have to check, find out what is really, really happening. Because some may have uh, what you call, I mean, some of them may have immune deficiency disease. There are some children that, though we said children's immune system have been developing, so it makes them prone to infection. But there are some children that really have what you call immune deficiency syndrome. I mean, they have disease in
Mm-hmm.
which their I mean, immune system is, this disease affects their immune system and it doesn't even make them to develop immunity to
Mm-hmm.
disease. So they are prone to almost every disease. One of such group of children are children that have HIV, you know,
Mm.
either they are transferred, most of the time, transferred from the mothers, which we don't know. I mean, and they were not detected early to
Mm-hmm.
the extent that it has overwhelmed their immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Those children come with with HIV, and it can overwhelm their system
Mm-hmm.
to the extent that they are prone to almost every disease.
Mm.
So I mean, this kind of children, uh, you have to be careful. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some that it may not even be HIV, but they have uh, diseases that affect genetic disease that affect their immune system. For
Mm-hmm.
those kind of children, you may have history of immune deficiency disease in their family.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinola, for coming on the show today. Today was very, very informative and educative. Dr. Olufumilola Akinola is a consultant pediatrician at St. Ives Family Hospital. If you want to get in touch with her or any of our doctors, you can do that on the TeleDoc app. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinola, for coming on Radio Doctor this morning for the free consultation.
Thank you for having me,
And
and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Yes, in advance to you, because the next time we'll be seeing it's not going to be Christmas. Christmas would have passed. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
Radio Doctor on Women Radio, WFM 91.7 is Nigeria's first free consultation with specialized radio health program, broadcast Mondays through Fridays at 10 a.m. Join us tomorrow for another edition of Radio Doctor at 10 a.m. Many thanks to the producer, Aisha Sunny. Thanks to Miriam Kolawale in the studio and the executive producer, Tumuki Wale Shanaya. My name is Fumi Bangwela, and as we say always, do have a healthy day. Before I go, remember that we still have our 7 magical days with Santa going on at the studio. Bring your children, let them come have fun, let them come take photos with Santa. They get a gift, they get to talk on live radio. Ooh, we're doing so much, but just shaking in money 2,000 naira. So, excuse me, bring them and let them have some fun over here at Women Radio. At 12 o'clock is the news. Do not go